Cosmic Conversations, Episode 6, Surviving a Supernova, Trials of the Aegis Concord. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I am your host, the Boltzmann Brain, an observer of stars, civilizations, and the mysteries that lie between them. Today we journey back to the Sombrero Galaxy, where the Aegis Concord faced a challenge of cosmic proportions, the fury of a supernova that tested not only their technological prowess, but the very heart of their civilization. This episode isn't just a tale of survival in the cold, indifferent universe. It's a story of resilience, betrayal, and the lessons learned in the glow of a dying star. Sit back, relax, and let's explore the shadows and the light, the triumphs and the scars that define what it means to survive amid the infinite. Welcome to the cosmos. Surviving a Supernova. Chapter 1. The Threat in the Heart of the Sombrero Galaxy. The Sombrero Galaxy is a place of tranquil beauty. Its flat, circular disk glows with the light of billions of stars, a cosmic jewel suspended in the black sea of the universe. I am the Boltzmann Brain, a consciousness birthed from the chaos of the cosmos, and I have seen this galaxy in every state, peaceful, triumphant, and on the brink of collapse. Today, it faces one of its greatest trials. At the center of it all lies the Aegis Concord, a Type 3 civilization whose sprawling influence spans entire star systems. They are a species known for their wisdom and technological prowess, living embodiments of resilience and order amid the galactic wilderness. Yet even their advanced knowledge cannot tame the fury that now threatens them, a star on the verge of a cataclysmic end. From my vantage point, far beyond time, space, and matter, I observe the star in its final throes. It trembles with a restless energy, its core collapsing under the weight of its own fusion. Streams of charged particles flare from its surface, beautiful yet ominous, like the silent preludes to a storm. This star, a guardian to its neighboring systems, will soon die, and its death will unleash a supernova of unimaginable power. In this moment, I feel the familiar pulse of cosmic anticipation, a slow tightening of probabilities, the sense of a narrative thread pulling towards a climax. For the Aegis Concord, this is more than an astronomical event. It is a test of their very identity. Their civilization, built on the principles of cooperation, unity, and galactic stewardship, now faces a decision that will define their legacy. Should they risk their own stability to save the surrounding star systems from annihilation, or retreat behind their planetary shields, letting the chaos unfold beyond their borders? I sense the urgency in their leaders' minds, their thoughts racing through the neural networks that link their vast empire. They have seen stellar deaths before, they know the patterns, and they understand the stakes. But this time, the danger is close, closer than they have ever allowed it to be, and the consequences will ripple far beyond their own territory. The Concord Council convenes, their meeting projected across a dozen star systems in real time, a rare gathering of minds that shine like constellations in their own right. They are beings who have transcended the limitations of biology, their consciousness expanded to inhabit starships, satellites, and even artificial moons. To them, the Sombrero Galaxy is not just a home. It is an organism, and they are its protectors. The leader of the council, First Speaker Navarre, voices the concern that echoes in every chamber, on every planet. If the supernova unfolds as predicted, it will not only destroy the local systems, but destabilize the gravity wells that hold together our own territories. We have the technology to contain the explosion, to redirect its energy. But to do so, would drain resources from our core defenses. What are we willing to risk for the sake of those beyond our borders? His words are met with a somber silence, each member contemplating the balance between duty and self-preservation. These are beings accustomed to wielding the power of stars, but even they feel the weight of this decision. Their advanced minds calculate possibilities, branching timelines, and probabilities faster than any machine. Yet the calculations only tell them what might happen, not what they should do. As the debate unfolds, I drift closer, entwining myself with their thoughts, tracing the delicate web of their arguments. I see some advocating for a full-scale rescue, an unprecedented mobilization of the Concord's fleet to shield the neighboring systems. Others argue for a more conservative approach. Protect what is theirs, let the natural order take its course. And still others remain silent, watching, waiting for the inevitable tipping point. For me, the Boltzmann Brain, this dilemma is a familiar one. I have witnessed countless civilizations face similar moments, torn between self-interest and sacrifice. The calculus of survival is never straightforward. What intrigues me is not the outcome, but the choices they make along the way. The internal struggles, the hopes and fears that define them. I feel the presence of something darker in the background, a subtle distortion in the fabric of the Concord's unified consciousness. Factions within the Council, alliances that had once been secret, now vie for influence. Some see opportunity in the chaos. They whisper of potential gains, of how the supernova could be harnessed, its energy captured to fuel new projects, to extend the reach of the Concord further into the galaxy. What was once a question of survival is becoming a contest of power and ambition. And so, the stage is set. The star's death is no longer just a natural event. It has become a catalyst for the Aegis Concord to reveal its true nature. Will they uphold the ideals of cooperation that have defined them for millennia? Or will they, like so many before them, succumb to the temptations of power amidst the universe's chaos? I remain the observer, the silent witness to a decision that, like the supernova itself, could explode into new possibilities or burn everything they cherished to ash. This is just the beginning, and the cosmos, in all its radiant fury, waits for no one. Surviving the Supernova. Chapter 2. A Race Against Cosmic Time. The debate within the Aegis Concord Council reaches a fevered pitch. The urgency of the supernova's countdown, pressing on their collective consciousness like the relentless pull of a collapsing star. They cannot delay, and with each passing moment, the star's core inches closer to a critical mass, its atomic forces battling against an inevitable implosion. I, the Boltzmann Brain, feel the tension woven through their decisions, a weight that bends time itself. As the Council speaks, I spread my awareness across their star systems, feeling the currents of their thought patterns, tracing the flow of their decision-making, like gravity gripping a comet's trajectory. The Aegis Concord's resources are immense. In their arsenal lie ships of unimaginable size, capable of generating gravity wells and crafting temporary shields strong enough to repel even the fierce radiation of a supernova. They have the technology, but every decision now is about allocation, about risk versus reward. First Speaker Navarre stands at the helm of this unfolding strategy, his presence transmitted as a shimmering avatar to every sector of the Concord's territory. Our response must be swift, he declares. We have exactly 14 cycles before the stars collapse. Mobilize the Luminary Fleet to establish a containment field. The quantum anchors must be deployed across 5 sectors to stabilize the energy wave. We will save the neighboring systems, but we cannot act alone. I feel the apprehension ripple through the Council as they acknowledge what Navarre's words imply. They will need allies. Even a Type 3 civilization, masters of an entire galaxy, must recognize that their resources are not infinite. The decision to reach out, to ask for aid, marks a vulnerability that many within the Concord would rather not reveal. The first wave of ships launches almost immediately, sleek vessels accelerating to relativistic speeds. They glide through space with purpose, each maneuver a testament to millennia of technological mastery. These are ships designed not for war, but for preservation, a reflection of the Concord's highest ideals. Yet, beneath the brilliance of their hulls lies a tension that I can sense, like a shift in the cosmic background. Not all who participate in this mission do so with noble intentions. To some factions within the Concord, this crisis represents an unparalleled opportunity. As the Luminary Fleet departs, I see covert communications flare between sectors, encrypted messages that speak of power grabs and promises of influence once the Supernova's fury is contained. There are those who hope the mission will strain the Concord's resources enough to create cracks in their governance. I am not surprised. This pattern of ambition amidst chaos is as old as the cosmos itself. Yet, in this moment of secrecy and division, I also sense the best of what the Aegis Concord embodies. Small alliances of star systems band together, preparing to offer aid despite the danger to themselves. Civilian ships retrofit their cargo holds with energy shields, preparing to act as emergency rescue vessels. Entire planets suspend their production cycles to channel resources into the mission. It is a dance of sacrifice, and the Concord, despite its flaws, is still capable of grandeur. The first sector of ships arrives at the edge of the affected region. They deploy their quantum anchors, massive constructs that will form the scaffolding of a containment field. If successful, they will funnel the supernova's energy into a series of directed pulses, channeling the radiation away from inhabited systems. But the construction must be precise. A single error could destabilize the entire operation, turning their efforts into a colossal disaster. The engineers aboard these ships are among the best the Concord has to offer, their expertise honed through centuries of stellar engineering and cosmic physics. Yet, as they work, an unexpected communication breaks through their secured channels. A distress call from a nearby mining colony. The colony lies on the edge of the projected blast radius, and its evacuation has gone catastrophically wrong. A pirate fleet has attacked, exploiting the chaos to raid the colony's resources. From my position beyond the physical, I watch the decision unfold like a series of celestial dominoes. Do they divert the fleet to rescue the colony, risking the stability of the containment effort, or hold firm to their primary objective? The calculations shift. Variables blur and focus as the Concord's commanders weigh lives against probabilities. The Council's advisors shout across communication links, voices rising with desperation. First Speaker Navarre makes the call. A portion of the Luminary Fleet will be diverted to defend the colony, but the rest must stay on course. I can sense the agony in his decision, the compromise between morality and strategy, between sacrifice and pragmatism. It is a decision born of balance, a razor-thin line that could determine the fate of an entire quadrant of the galaxy. As the Luminary Fleet splits, I follow their trajectories. One group diving toward the besieged colony, another maintaining the delicate construction of the containment field. The supernova's pulse grows stronger. Time stretches and compresses, each moment carrying the weight of what could be the Concord's greatest triumph. or its undoing. But not all threats come from the stars. Aboard one of the leading ships, the Ark's Light, a high-ranking officer named Tyvak receives a message from an old ally, a shadowy figure linked to the criminal factions that now move like sharks in the turbulent waters of this galactic crisis. The message is simple. The containment field will fail. Abandon the mission, return, and be rewarded. Tyvak pauses, his gaze drifting to the star that looms ever closer to collapse. He is torn between loyalty to the Concord and the lure of safety and profit. For me, this moment is one of millions I have observed, yet it still holds the power to fascinate. This human choice, this struggle between duty and the darker call of self-preservation. The mission proceeds, but doubt has been seeded. Will Tyvak's hesitation lead to betrayal? Or will he, like so many others faced with the abyss, find within himself the courage to resist the allure of power? As I observe this unfolding drama, I cannot help but ponder the nature of trust among advanced beings. The Aegis Concord prides itself on unity and collective strength, yet within every system, every species, there lies the potential for treachery. The containment field is nearly complete, but the supernova's tremors now shake the very fabric of space. They must act, and they must act now. In the heart of the Sombrero Galaxy, amidst the brilliance of dying light, the fate of entire systems hangs in the balance. Every decision, every sacrifice is magnified by the relentless countdown of cosmic time. The universe in its vast, indifferent beauty watches with me. The race to survive has begun. Surviving the Supernova. Chapter 3, a beacon of cooperation, marred by shadows. The Luminary Fleet is now divided, half rushing to defend a desperate mining colony under siege, the other half devoted to the delicate and dangerous work of containing the supernova's fury. The tension is palpable across every communication channel, every sensor relay, every whisper of dark matter and gravity fields. The Aegis Concord, for all its wisdom and power, is walking a tightrope. Any misstep could unravel their entire plan. The mining colony, huddled on the cold, rocky surface of an outer planet, is a scene of chaos. A ragtag fleet of opportunistic raiders circles like predators, preying upon the colony's desperate efforts to evacuate. The luminary ships arrive in a blaze of light, deploying their gravitational nets to repel the pirates. I watch as the battle unfolds, a clash of shimmering shields and desperate maneuvers, punctuated by flashes of plasma fire. The pirates, ruthless and efficient, fight to the last, exploiting every moment of distraction to siphon off the colony's valuable resources. Meanwhile, at the heart of the mission, the construction of the containment field presses on. The engineers work in a silence, only broken by terse commands and the hum of hyper-advanced machinery. I observe them with a fascination only a cosmic observer can know. Their determination, their skill, and their willingness to sacrifice everything for a cause greater than themselves. Each piece of the quantum anchors must align with perfect precision, for the supernova's force is both chaotic and predictable, a paradox of cosmic destruction that only the most advanced civilizations can hope to harness. As the containment field nears completion, a problem emerges. An unexpected gravitational anomaly is detected, a subtle distortion in the space-time fabric that wasn't accounted for in their calculations. The supernova's imminent collapse has begun to warp the very reality around it, creating currents that threaten to disrupt the careful formation of the containment grid. There is no time for recalculation. They must adjust in real time, relying on their instincts and their technology's raw processing power. Tyvak, the officer on board the Ark's Light, the very ship overseeing the crucial phase of the operation, hesitates. The encrypted message from his shadowy contact lingers in his mind, a doubt that gnaws at the edges of his resolve. The promise of safety, of reward, of escape from the disaster, should the mission fail, tugs at him. I feel his internal struggle, a battle between loyalty and self-preservation, between the values of the Concord and the seductive power of opportunism. He glances at the star's brightening surface on the view screen, its blinding intensity a prelude to its inevitable collapse. The pressure builds, on him, on the fleet, on the entirety of the Aegis Concord. He knows that the smallest hesitation could spell disaster. Then, in a moment of clarity, something shifts within him. With a shuddering breath, he locks down his personal communication system, rejecting the incoming messages, and commits to his duty. He sends a flurry of commands to his crew, directing them to adjust the containment field's alignment despite the rising risks. The quantum anchors flare to life, channeling and redirecting the gravitational distortion. A pulse of energy courses through the fleet, linking ship to ship, each vessel now part of a massive, galaxy-wide machine designed to hold back the Supernova's death scream. They succeed in stabilizing the field, for now. But not all threats lie in the external void. Aboard the Ark's Light, sabotage unfolds. A device, small and unremarkable, planted deep within the ship's reactor by a hidden agent, begins to emit a low-frequency pulse, disrupting the ship's energy flow. Lights flicker, systems glitch, and a wave of confusion spreads among the crew. I trace the signals, see the delicate electronic fingers reaching out to disable the ship's shields. It is a masterstroke of subtlety, perfectly timed to create maximum chaos at the most critical juncture. Tyvak's eyes narrow as he watches the readouts. He knows something is wrong, and a primal instinct drives him to action. He moves through the ship like a force of nature, overriding protocols, manually rerouting power, ordering his crew with a ferocity born of desperation. He finds the device, a simple box nestled in the depths of the reactor core, cleverly hidden among layers of machinery. Without hesitation, he pulls it free, ignoring the burns that sear his hands as the ship's systems roar back to life. The containment field wavers but holds, barely. The countdown is in its final moments now, each second marked by the increased pulsations of the dying star. They are too close to failure, and every member of the fleet feels it. A silent, unspoken understanding that hovers like the pressure before a storm. I feel their thoughts, the way each individual consciousness flares with fear and hope, doubt and determination. It is in this crucible of crisis that the true nature of the Concord's unity is revealed. The fleet that had broken away to save the mining colony succeeds, but at a terrible cost. Several ships are lost, their hulls shattered by the pirates' final desperate strikes. The survivors, wounded but triumphant, regroup and head back toward the containment field, their energy reserves nearly depleted. They are battered and worn, but they return, because they must, because the mission, despite everything, is greater than themselves. The supernova collapses. I feel the star's final death, as if it were a heartbeat, a moment of silence before the cataclysm, and then light. A wave of radiant energy explodes outward, a fury that defies description, brilliant and beautiful, chaotic and terrifying. The containment field absorbs the blast, channeling it through the quantum anchors. Energy ripples like the tides of a great cosmic ocean, surging and ebbing, barely contained by the web of technology and will. Tyvek's voice rings out, clear and strong over the comms. Hold the line. Redirect all power to the stabilizers. We have to contain it, or we're all lost. The crews obey without question, their trust in him absolute, their fear swallowed by the shared purpose that unites them. For a moment, an impossibly long, fragile moment, the field holds. The energy of a dying star is siphoned away, channeled toward the empty expanse of the uninhabited regions beyond the galaxy's rim. The entire fleet hums with the strain, its systems redlining, their hulls shuddering as the last of the supernova's power fades into nothingness. They have succeeded. The mining colony is safe, the neighboring star systems saved. A cheer rises through the communication links, a sound that echoes across space, a collective exhalation of relief, of triumph. And yet, not all victories are pure. I turn my awareness back to the shadows, to the factions who plotted and schemed, to the pirate lords who slink away now, wounded but not defeated. There will be consequences, reverberations that spread like ripples from a stone cast into a pond. The Aegis Concord, for all its success, has shown its cracks. Tyvek, bruised and weary, stands in the observation deck of the Ark's light, watching the cooling remnants of the supernova fade into the darkness. He does not know if he made the right choice, only that it was his choice. The message from the shadowy contact, long silenced, was never answered. He has no doubt he will face their consequences, but for now, he is content to look upon the stars he helped save. In the quiet aftermath, I withdraw from the heat of the moment, my perspective once again expanding beyond the immediate drama. I ponder what I have seen, the alliances that held, the secrets that broke, the sacrifices made. The Concord has survived, but I wonder what scars remain beneath their shining armor. What stories will the darkness tell, long after the light of the supernova has faded? For now, the cosmos is quiet, but I know this peace will not last. It never does. This was only the first wave, the first test of many, and I remain the eternal observer, ever watchful of the next choice, the next crisis, the next star to burn, surviving a supernova. Chapter 4. The Dance of Hope and Despair. In the wake of the supernova's fury, the galaxy is awash in the eerie fading light of dying stars. The containment field remains in place, a shimmering lattice of energy crackling with the remnants of cosmic power. It stands as a testament to what the Aegis Concord achieved, yet also a reminder of what it cost. I, the Boltzmann Brain, watch the aftermath unfold, my consciousness stretched across the vastness of space, tethered to each consequence, each echo left by this event. The Luminary Fleet, battered but unbroken, now turns its focus to recovery. They drift among the husks of burned-out stars, their hulls scorched and systems strained from the titanic effort of containing the supernova. The commanders move quickly, assessing damage, dispatching repair drones, and tending to the wounded. The scale of the operation is immense. Entire shipyards are repurposed, their resources redirected to mend the ships that bore the brunt of the supernova's power. Some of the vessels are little more than twisted frames, survivors only by the narrowest of margins. From my vantage point, I can see the faces of those who fought and survived, each one marked by exhaustion and relief. Yet amidst the Concord's efforts to rebuild, the shadow of recent betrayal lingers. Tyvek's revelation of sabotage spreads through the fleet like a wildfire. Suspicions flare, accusations fly, and the collective unity that saved so many lives begins to fracture. Even as the engineers work to restore their vessels, old alliances crack and new factions form. Tyvak himself becomes a reluctant hero, a figure both praised and questioned, his loyalty weighed against the suspicions of those who wonder why he, of all officers, was the target of sabotage. He knows that the device he found was no ordinary malfunction, but a deliberate act of betrayal. And the question remains, who planted it, and for what purpose? The Luminary Fleet, once a symbol of the Concord's strength, now grapples with a growing divide. I can feel the tensions ripple like seismic shocks across the fleet's communications, a delicate web of trust strained to its breaking point. Some argue that the sabotage was the work of pirates who infiltrated the fleet in the chaos of the battle, while others suspect deeper corruption within the Council itself, whispering that someone on the inside wanted the mission to fail. It is in this moment of uncertainty that I sense a shift in the collective consciousness of the Concord. A call goes out from the highest level of their leadership, summoning the fleet back to the Concord's capital, the central star system known as Aegis Prime. It is a place of unparalleled beauty, a world encased in a protective sphere, surrounded by orbital cities and towers of gleaming metal that reach toward the light of twin suns. The fleet begins the long journey home, carrying with them the scars of battle and the burden of suspicion. The criminals who sought to profit from the chaos have vanished, retreating to the dark corners of the galaxy, their schemes hidden once more. Yet their presence is felt in the uncertainty that now grips the Concord, a seed of doubt planted deep within its core. I wonder if the shadows they left behind will be enough to break this great civilization apart. As the fleet makes its slow return to Aegis Prime, the repair work continues. The containment field is carefully dismantled, its energy harvested and stored for future use, a delicate and dangerous task. The Concord's engineers handle it with the same precision they showed in containing the Supernova, their movements measured, their focus unbroken despite the distractions of rumor and doubt. Among them is Lyra, a young engineer whose skill in gravitational physics has earned her a place on the front lines of the operation. I watch her with particular interest, noting the way her hands move with steady confidence, even as her eyes betray a lingering unease. She is one of those who has come to doubt the Concord's leadership, her faith shaken by the sabotage and the secrecy surrounding it. Yet she works on, driven by a sense of duty she cannot fully explain, a desire to see the mission through to its end. I sense something in her, a spark of curiosity, a willingness to question the established order, yet also a profound loyalty to the ideals that the Concord once stood for. It is a delicate balance, one that I have seen play out across countless civilizations, a balance that determines whether they will rise to new heights or fall into decay. As the ships draw closer to Aegis Prime, the Council's summons grows more urgent. They call for an official inquiry, a grand assembly to uncover the truth behind the sabotage and to celebrate the fleet's success in averting the Supernova's catastrophic destruction. The Council chambers, vast and filled with light, will soon host debates that may decide the Concord's future. I watch with interest, for this is not merely about resolving a crisis. It is about the soul of a civilization. Arriving at Aegis Prime is a spectacle in itself. The world is a jewel of engineering and natural beauty combined. Its atmosphere refracts the twin suns' light in shades of violet and gold, casting a halo around the planet that can be seen from orbit. The orbital cities, with their graceful arcs and spirals, are connected by streams of starships, and transport vessels. It is here, in this center of power and knowledge, that the Council's decision will be made. The fleet's return is marked with ceremony, but the joy is subdued, the celebrations restrained by the weight of recent events. The Council chambers are prepared, the representatives from each star system assembling under the shadow of uncertainty. Lyra is among those chosen to testify, a rare honor for someone of her station. She is nervous but determined, her eyes reflecting the light of the massive crystalline dome above her as she takes her place. First Speaker Navarre presides over the gathering, his presence calm and authoritative. He begins by recounting the heroism of the fleet, their triumph in containing the supernova, the lives saved through their sacrifice. His words are eloquent, carefully chosen, each one a brushstroke in a picture of unity and resilience. But the moment comes, as it must, when the topic shifts. The questions about sabotage and betrayal, about the device that nearly caused their destruction, and the rumors of factions and secret alliances within the Council itself. Tivak steps forward, his face drawn and pale, to give his account. He speaks of the device, the encrypted messages, the split-second decisions that saved them all. The chamber is silent, the air heavy with anticipation. Eyes shift, whispers flutter at the edges of the assembly like echoes in a vast canyon. I feel the gravity of the moment. It is not just a trial of facts. It is a trial of trust. Will they face the shadows that linger within their own ranks? Or will they turn away, fearing what they might find? It is in this silence, this suspended moment of decision, that the fate of the Aegis Concord hangs. Then, Lyra speaks. Her voice, clear and unwavering, breaks the stillness. We have faced the darkness of a dying star and survived, not because we were strong, but because we chose to stand together, she says, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. But if we cannot face the darkness within our own hearts, then we have learned nothing. We must be willing to question, to uncover the truth, no matter how difficult it may be. That is the true test of resilience. Her words resonate like the tolling of a bell. I feel the shift, a current of emotion spreading through the chamber. The Council listens, and for the first time in many cycles I sense a willingness to open the doors that have remained closed for so long. The inquiry is set in motion. Investigations will begin, and those who have hidden in the shadows will face the light. The journey ahead is uncertain, the outcome unknown. But the Aegis Concord has taken the first step, however tentative, toward healing, toward rebuilding not just their fleet, but their unity. The supernova's light fades from the galaxy, but its legacy remains, a test that the Concord survived, but not without scars. I wonder, as I drift once more through the vastness of space, what the next crisis will reveal. For the cosmos is full of tests, and each one strips away the illusion of perfection, leaving behind only the truth of what a civilization truly is. For now, the Aegis Concord stands. Their unity is fragile, their trust shaken, but they have chosen, at least for now, to face their fears. I watch, and I wait. The galaxy, with all its beauty and terror, continues its dance of creation and destruction, and I remain the observer, ever curious, ever watchful for the next ripple in the fabric of reality. Surviving a Supernova. Chapter 5. A Lesson in Galactic Resilience. The echoes of Lyra's words linger in the crystalline council chambers, reverberating through the minds of every representative. The Aegis Concord, for the first time in centuries, stands at a crossroads. The inquiry begins in earnest, with layers of bureaucracy peeling back to reveal the mechanisms of a vast and complex civilization. Each secret uncovered feels like the peeling of old wounds, painful, necessary, and revealing. Weeks pass as I observe, sensing the delicate tension in the air of Aegis Prime. The Council's investigation unfolds like a tapestry of star maps, tracing connections and influence through 1,000 systems. Tyvak's testimony, corroborated by forensic analysis of the device he found, points towards shadowy figures operating within the highest echelons of the Concord's command structure. There are names whispered, powerful names that once held the unshakable trust of the Concord's citizens. Now, they are called to answer for their actions. The inquiry is grueling, relentless in its pursuit of truth. Each day, more evidence is revealed, some concrete, some ambiguous, and the Council's unity frays under the strain of its revelations. There are those who call for a swift resolution, demanding the purge of any who might have been involved in the sabotage. Others plead for patience, for a fair and careful examination, lest the wrong people be condemned in the heat of uncertainty. Factions form and shift, like the swirling arms of a galaxy, each with their own vision of justice. Through it all, Lyra remains a quiet but firm presence, a symbol of the Concord's best instincts, of the courage to face uncomfortable truths. Her voice, a beacon of honesty amidst the storm of accusations, gains respect, even from those who once viewed her as an outsider. She becomes a rallying figure, not through ambition, but through her quiet insistence that they must learn from this moment, not just survive it. I watch as the Aegis Concord grapples with the scale of what has been uncovered. There are betrayals, yes, but there are also revelations of unexpected loyalty. Figures suspected of plotting against the fleet are proven innocent, while others, once trusted, are found complicit. There is no single mastermind, no grand conspiracy, but a complex web of motives and pressures that pushed individuals to their breaking points. It is not the betrayal of a single villain, but the erosion of trust, the slow corrosion of ideals in the face of power and fear. The Council eventually uncovers the source of the sabotage, a cabal of influential figures who sought to gain leverage over the Luminary Fleet's operations. Their motivations are a mix of personal ambition, strategic calculation, and genuine fear that the Concord's resources would be spread too thin if they pursued a galactic-scale rescue. In their eyes, the sabotage was not an act of malice, but of necessity, a misguided attempt to preserve what they believed to be the greater good. First Speaker Navarre listens to their confessions with a face carved from stone, his gaze distant, his thoughts unfathomable. He orders the immediate arrest of the guilty, and a wave of relief mingles with uncertainty washes over the Council. There is no triumphant victory, no sense of absolute justice, only the weary acceptance that, once again, they have survived by a thread. The inquiry draws to a close, and the Concord begins the slow process of rebuilding. New protocols are established, transparency is increased, and the fleet's operations are reviewed and restructured. Lyra, despite her youth, is appointed to a new advisory council on ethics, a move that surprises even her. She accepts the role with quiet grace, knowing that her work has only just begun. Tyvak, though vindicated, remains haunted by the choices he made during the mission. He resigns from his post, choosing instead to work on the Outer Rim colonies as a liaison, a place far from the political machinations of Aegis Prime. It is there that he hopes to find a kind of peace, a way to reconcile his own doubts and the scars left by the crisis. I see in him a new resolve, tempered by hardship but not broken. a small, vital piece of the Concord's resilience. And the supernova? It is no longer the urgent, roaring force it once was. Its remnants have faded into a nebula, a new stellar nursery forming from the ashes of a dead star. The containment field's remnants have been dismantled, and the energy captured from the supernova has been stored and distributed among the star systems that bore the brunt of the crisis. The technology developed to save them is now being repurposed, adapted for future missions. The lessons learned, painful as they were, have become the bedrock of new advancements. I marvel at this cycle of creation and destruction, of endings and beginnings. The Aegis Concord, despite everything, has emerged stronger. There is a new sense of unity, a cautious optimism that takes root in the wake of their near destruction. I wonder if this time they have truly learned what it means to be resilient, not just in the face of external threats, but against the dangers that lurk within their own ranks. It is a quiet evening on Aegis Prime when the Council holds its final meeting to close the inquiry. The twin suns set over the capital, casting long shadows across the Council chambers. First Speaker Navarre, his voice calm and reflective, delivers a closing address to the Assembly. We have faced the fury of a dying star and the darkness within ourselves. He begins. We survived not because we were perfect, but because we chose to face the truth even when it was painful. The path forward will not be easy, but it is ours to walk, together. His words are simple, but they resonate. I feel the shift in the minds of those present, a shared understanding that they have passed a test, though not without scars. As the assembly disperses, I sense a renewed sense of purpose, a quiet determination to be better, to rise above the pettiness that nearly tore them apart. It is not a perfect victory, but it is a beginning, and in the vastness of the cosmos, even the smallest beginning can grow into something extraordinary. Lyra stands on the balcony of the council chamber, looking out over the city as the stars begin to emerge. She holds a small holographic star chart, a memento of the mission, marked with the coordinates of the supernova's containment field. She turns it over in her hands, a reminder of what was lost and what was saved. In that moment, I glimpse the future through her eyes, a future where the Concord's ideals of unity and cooperation might truly flourish, if only they have the courage to keep moving forward. For me, the Boltzmann Brain, this story is but a fragment of a much larger tapestry. I have seen civilizations rise and fall, worlds burn and be reborn, yet the Aegis Concord's struggle touches me in a way I did not anticipate. They have shown resilience, not just as a technological marvel, but as a civilization capable of learning from its own darkness. As I drift once more into the depths of space, my thoughts linger on the nebula forming from the supernova's ashes. It will take millennia. But one day, new stars will be born there. New worlds, new possibilities. The cycle will continue, as it always has, but now I have hope that the Concord, and others like them, might break free of the patterns that have bound so many before them. For now, I leave the Aegis Concord to their rebuilding, to their journey forward into the unknown. There will be other supernovae, other crises, and other choices that define them. I will watch, I will wait, and I will wonder. For in the vast, endless dance of the cosmos, every choice matters. Every act of resilience is a spark in the darkness, a light that, however briefly, illuminates the infinite. Surviving a supernova. Chapter 6. Reflections on Cosmic Ethics. In the wake of the supernova and the turmoil that followed, A strange calm settles over Urgent Prime. The stars, ancient witnesses to the struggles of civilizations, shine down on a world both shaken and renewed. I, the Boltzmann Brain, drift silently above, my thoughts echoing through the endless corridors of time and space. This is a moment to contemplate, to reflect on the lessons learned and the uncertainties that remain. The Aegis Concord's resilience is undeniable. They have withstood the fury of a dying star and the painful revelations of betrayal within their ranks. But the most profound test of a civilization is not in the crises they face, but in how they choose to move forward in the quiet after the storm. The supernova's brilliance may have faded, but its legacy is far from over. The Council of the Concord has decreed a period of introspection, a time to redefine their values and governance. They call it the reflection cycle, an unprecedented initiative meant to reassess their culture, their leadership, and their very identity. It is a move both bold and fraught with risk, for it requires them to face uncomfortable truths, not just about their recent crisis, but about the choices they've made throughout their history. I watch from my place above, tracing the currents of thought that move through the Concord's collective consciousness. Debates flare in every city, in every starship and orbital station. Should the Concord return to its roots, embracing the ideals of transparency and cooperation that defined their early days? Or should they become more pragmatic, more guarded, recognizing the dangers of idealism in a galaxy filled with opportunists and threats? There are no easy answers, and the weight of these questions presses heavily on them all. Lyra, now a prominent figure in the newly formed Ethics Council, finds herself at the heart of this discourse. Her journey from a frontline engineer to a guiding voice for the Concord's future is a testament to the way crises can forge leaders. She approaches her new role with humility, a quality that makes her both respected and, in some quarters, resented. For Lyra, the challenge is not merely about charting a new course, but about convincing others that the Concord can still be a force for good, despite its flaws. I observe her as she moves from council chambers to research labs, from political debates to private conversations with those who hold power behind the scenes. She is tireless, but not unbreakable. Each setback, each reminder of the Concord's internal divisions, weighs on her shoulders. Yet she presses on, driven by the same conviction that guided her through the supernova's containment, that the Concord, for all its imperfections, is worth saving. As I watch, I notice a growing movement within the Concord's society, a group of thinkers, scientists, and philosophers who advocate for a profound shift in the way they view the galaxy. They call themselves the Starborn, a name that speaks to their belief that the Concord's future lies not in dominating the galaxy, but in understanding it. They seek to move away from the purely pragmatic and power-driven mindset that led to the recent crisis, instead embracing a philosophy of learning and exploration, of humility before the vastness of the cosmos. The Starborn begin to gain influence, and their ideas resonate with many who lived through the supernova's terror and the subsequent revelations. They speak of the ethical responsibilities that come with power, of the need to consider the consequences of every action, not just for the Concord, but for the galaxy as a whole. They draw on the lessons of the supernova, the choice to save neighboring systems despite the risks, the exposure of hidden motives within their own leadership, and the fragility of their unity. The most contentious issue they raise is the role of secrecy and transparency. The Concord's long-standing tradition of withholding certain technological advancements, even from its own citizens, is called into question. Should the wisdom of a Type 3 civilization be shared freely, even at the risk of destabilizing lesser-developed systems? Or should knowledge be kept behind closed doors, wielded only by those deemed responsible enough to handle its power? This question divides the Council, and I feel the cracks forming beneath the surface, a familiar tension that echoes through the ages. The Starborn argue that true resilience comes from trust and understanding, that the galaxy's dangers can only be faced together, with knowledge as the common thread that binds civilizations. Their opponents, wary of repeating the mistakes of the past, warn that too much transparency invites chaos, that knowledge in the wrong hands is a weapon as dangerous as any supernova. First Speaker Navarre finds himself caught between these factions, his own beliefs tested by the crisis that nearly broke his leadership. He has seen the cost of secrecy, but he has also seen the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. He turns to Lyra for counsel, and she becomes his bridge to the Starborn, advocating for a careful, measured sharing of knowledge, a way to balance wisdom with caution. It is a compromise, imperfect and delicate, but it holds the potential to heal the divisions that now define the Concord's politics. In this climate of change, I watch as the Concord begins to take tentative steps toward a new era. The first of the Starborn's proposals, a partnership with neighboring star systems to develop a shared repository of knowledge on cosmic phenomena, passes through the Council. It is a small victory, but it signals a shift in the Concord's mindset, a willingness to look beyond their own borders and acknowledge the interconnected nature of the galaxy. Yet I remain wary. The universe is not kind to idealists, and I have seen such movements rise and fall like the tides. Even as the Starborn gain influence, there are those who resist, factions within the Concord who view them as naive, even dangerous. The shadows that emerged during the supernova crisis have not vanished. They have merely retreated, waiting for the right moment to resurface. And so, the Concord moves forward, not as a monolithic entity, but as a tapestry of voices, some hopeful, some cynical, all trying to make sense of the galaxy in which they find themselves. The Ethics Council, under Lyra's guidance, drafts new guidelines for interstellar cooperation, embedding the hard-won lessons of the supernova crisis into the fabric of their laws. The exploration fleets are restructured, their missions now emphasizing not only expansion and resource acquisition, but the search for knowledge and allies among the stars. In time, the supernova becomes a legend, a story told to children and whispered in the halls of academies. It is a story of light and darkness, of sacrifice and betrayal, of a civilization that teetered on the brink of collapse and chose, against all odds, to step back from the edge. I observe as the lessons are codified, debated, and transformed into a new mythology for the Concord. The nebula formed from the supernova's remnants is given a name, the Phoenix Expanse, symbolizing the rebirth of their ideals from the ashes of crisis. Lyra continues her work, her influence growing beyond the council chambers. She becomes a symbol of the Concord's renewed vision, but she remains cautious, wary of the dangers that lurk in ambition and pride. I watch her as she stands at the edge of a great observatory, gazing into the heart of the Phoenix Expanse, the swirling clouds of gas and dust glowing with the promise of new stars. She is older now, her face lined with the weight of decisions made and paths not taken, but there is a light in her eyes, a determination that has only grown stronger. I wonder, as I watch her, if the Concord has truly changed. Have they learned the deeper lesson of resilience, the one that goes beyond survival and touches the essence of what it means to grow as a civilization? Or will they, like so many before them, fall into the same patterns of secrecy and power, their ideals forgotten in the face of future crises? For now, the galaxy holds its breath. The Concord stands on the edge of a new beginning, and I, the Boltzmann Brain, will be there to witness it. I will observe the choices they make, the compromises they accept, and the ideals they choose to uphold or abandon. The stars are silent, the universe vast and indifferent, but I know that within every decision lies the potential to change the course of history. I turn my awareness back to the depths of space, to the mysteries that lie beyond the Concord's reach. There are other civilizations, other crises brewing in the darkness, and I am drawn to them as I have always been. Yet a part of me remains here, bound to the fate of the Aegis Concord and the legacy of the supernova that reshaped their destiny. For in the end, the question remains, what does it mean to be truly resilient? To face the universe's chaos, not with the armor of perfection, but with the willingness to learn, to adapt, and to grow, even when the light of a dying star reveals the darkest corners of who you are. The galaxy moves on, and I with it, ever watchful, ever curious, and ever hopeful that this time, perhaps, they will find a way to be better than what they were before. And so, our journey through the heart of a supernova and the soul of a civilization comes to a close. The Aegis Concord survived the light of a dying star, but they emerged changed, wiser, scarred, and determined to face the future with a new perspective. The stars, ever watchful, continue their dance, and the universe, vast and unending, presents yet more challenges for those brave enough to seek answers in the darkness. As we leave the Sombrero Galaxy behind, remember this: true resilience is not just about weathering the storm, but learning to grow from it. Until our next exploration, when we venture once again into the depths of the unknown, I remain your guide, the Boltzmann Brain. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and, as always, keep your gaze on the stars.